Vice Principal announcements. I am so glad you are here. This is Liz from Megas Books and Herbs, and I am going to update you on what's going on here before we get to chatting with the beautiful Siri and the wonderful and amazing Cassandra. And now that we're live on Instagram too, they have a delay. Let's get into it. What's going on? First, you're here. You're watching us live or in the replay, so you know that we're on every day at 11:15. We love that you guys watch, share, comment, like, do all the magical things that you can do for us there. And we love coming to you with info. And we're so happy to be able to do that. This weekend, Standing Stones is going to be picking up their series of classes again. And they've got 4 left in the series. You do not have to attend anything in any particular order, so you're welcome to join them this Saturday if you're curious about the Coven of the Standing Stones, their philosophies. What they're covering this Saturday is their astrology and runes, so it's their second in the 3-part mini-series they do on divination. The Saturday after that, they'll be doing numerology and pendulums, and then at the end of the month, your magical name and your magical personality, which I think will be a fascinating discussion. And on my birthday, what is dedication, initiation, and coven life? And that will wrap up their series for the year. We've been so happy to have them here. It's been so exciting. Go back and you'll be able to see the interview with them that we did a while back. Coming up this Sunday is Nancy Antonucci's Tarot Lab. It is always a blast, and it is frequently jam-packed. So do come and grab your seat. The class starts at 3:30. She's usually here just a little before 3:30, but we try to set it up first thing so you can come and grab your spot whenever you're ready. If you don't own a deck, but you're tarot curious, she has decks you can borrow while you're in the class. It's a bunch of exercises. It's not stuffy. It's not a lecture. It's a lot of fun. She's an amazing teacher, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're ready for your Reiki 1, that'll be the next Sunday, and it will be wonderful. Astrology is that Sunday as well. So our wonderful astrologer, Adam, will be leading a nice discussion on astrology. He's got some fun stuff planned for everybody. And the last Sunday of the month, we'll have our Reiki share at 12. So if you've got a Reiki 1, 2, or 3, and you just want to come and do some trades, that's the day to come and do it. And later that day, our amazing palm reader, Chris, will be teaching his class. He's got a series of 4 classes. You don't need to take them in any order at all. You just come, and those classes, the Tarot Lab, the astrology, and the palmistry, are all by donation classes. So you get to decide the value of the class for yourself, which is kind of cool. There are Herbalism 3, I'll be teaching every Tuesday for the rest of this month and a little into June. And of course tonight and for the foreseeable future, my Wednesdays will be with my year 2 students. Love them all. If you are interested in pursuing these herbal classes, they will start again with year 1 in September on Tuesday evenings. If you would like to do a payment plan, please come see us sometime soon, and we'll divide it into 3 payments with the last payment due on the first day of September. That's my calendar. That's what I got for you. I want to remind you about our lovely readers. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. We have stuff next month. Next month, we have a few exciting things. Sarah Cura will be back in Minnesota. She spends most of her time out of the country, but she's originally from here, and we've got some of her jewelry here. Beautiful stuff. She will be in on Sunday, June 8th, doing a trunk show and offering pendulum readings. She's really good. If you want to check her out, that's the perfect day to meet her, maybe get a reading from her or check her out, because on Wednesday, the 11th of June, she'll be doing a pendulum workshop from 3 to 5. So you gotta want to go, because you're going to need to take the afternoon off if you work a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. But it's a really good pendulum class. I'd highly recommend it. We've sold the workbook for it here as well. We may be out of those at this point. I'm not sure, to be honest. And on Saturday, I cannot read my own writing. Later in the month, Defying the Shadows by Jessica Settergren. Wanted to get her name right. Jessica's going to be in doing book signings. So she's here for a meet and greet. This is a really important book. Jessica herself was diagnosed with cancer And as a pagan, she found herself feeling very cut off from a lot of the wonderful resources that are out there from people undergoing a battle with cancer, because so many of those services were geared through religious practices that were not hers. So she's written a whole book to help us all as a community, whether you're Wiccan or pagan or practice witchcraft or even ceremonial magic or any of the other alternate faiths, you're heathen, Celtic. She's got some wonderful information to share, whether it's you that's going through this struggle or someone you love, or you just want to be in ministry and doing a good job for people. Maybe you're looking to become a minister in a hospital or a prison system. This is an invaluable resource. So I'd highly recommend coming in and meeting her next month. Now, wait, what am I drinking? First, let's do what am I drinking? What am I drinking today? I have in here some lychee or goji berry. That's my sweetener. It's delicious. Some faux tea, nice dark root. Love that. Some eleuthero. And, ooh, I'm missing one. Let me stare at it. What else did I grab? I grabbed one other thing. Oh, yeah, I grabbed some bacopa for my brain. The readers are raring to go. They have been doing a wonderful job with folks. You guys have really embraced Megan, and we all appreciate you for that because she's our newest addition and she is a delight. We've got Doc Murphy on Sundays, standing in for Tracy while she's out. I did, by the way, get an update on Tracy. Her healing is going really well, so we're looking forward to having her back in probably in a couple of months or so, maybe 2-3 months. A lot of work's getting done there. Mondays, if you've got a dream that you're puzzling over, Morpheus is here on Mondays in the latter part of the day, like 2 to 6, to help you with the interpretation of those dreams. He's really good at it, and it's kind of interesting having him here doing that kind of work. Tuesdays from noon to 3, we have Ravenwolf. He's a fantastic reader. And of course, Wednesday, all day, noon to 6, we've got Megan in. On Fridays, Ravenwolf is back from 1 to 4. And he's here on Saturdays from noon to 2, but don't worry, he'll stay late if you need him to, and Megan comes in at 3 to round out the rest of the day. So that's what we've got going on. I have a couple things I just wanted to show you guys real quick. We're not ordering a lot of stuff right now, which I'll get to in a moment, but one of my third-year students brought in some comfrey root. Now, technically, this is not organic comfrey root because it's not certified organic because it's from her garden. But this is her surplus, and I'm going to weigh it out, and we'll have it out on the shelves. And of course, she'll get a little credit for that. And I also wanted to point out a couple bags that I'm running low on. So this is one. So if you're looking for that perfect bag to carry your essentials, maybe during Pride Month, here you go. Fabulous. The other one I'm running really low on is this style. So if you liked this one, and this one has been really popular, I'm down to the last handful. So come grab them while you can. I am getting lots of stuff coming in soon, but it's not for this location because we're moving, if you haven't heard. We're moving up Central Avenue. We will still be in Northeast Minneapolis. We'll still be right in the same area, but we're going to move to a slightly smaller space that's simply much better cared for. So we will be at 2520 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis. We'll be on the block that is just north of Lowry Avenue. Delightful space. We're in there now. We're moving things like our backstock over now. We are rearranging the space the way we need it done right now. So my hope is that we will have an opening by June 1st at the very latest. I will keep you posted. We're all really excited. And anybody who's worked in the building, like someone I could point to right now, we're all the most excited to be out of this space. It took a few changes to the business to be able to make that happen, but all of those changes have been made. So we are onward and upward, and it's going to be a great space. The classroom will be a little smaller than the one we have here, but good sized. The store floor will likewise be just a little bit smaller than what we have here, but pretty good size too. So we're looking at color schemes right now. So give me your opinions and your inputs when you can. No gray, by the way, there will be no gray. Just want to tell you now, no one's staring at a gray wall ever again here. Because it's too sad. We can't do it. But that's not more than announcements. So you guys have been watching. There they are. The beautiful, the fabulous, the wonderful, the Siri, Vincent, Plouff, the Cassandra, Snow, writers extraordinaire. They team up. They work individually. They are the queens of writers, I think.
Hello. Can you hear me? I'm frozen, but
We can hear you. Yes, you look frozen, but we can hear you. I'm so glad you're able to be here.
yeah, you also get a sneak peek at Babyface as it was freezing. We usually don't put her on the internet, but that's okay.
Well, very cute baby. That's the important part.
Thank you.
So, do you two have any projects that are coming out anytime soon? Let's start there.
Yeah. Yesterday, my essay anthology that Siri is in, that I came on before to talk about, released. Tarot in Other Words, and I will let Siri tell you more about the process from their point of view, since you already heard from me about it.
Yeah. So I was actually kind of talking to my partner, and I was like, this is so weird because a book is coming out and I'm in the book, but it doesn't feel it's so different having an essay versus, like the full book. But in a good way. It feels like not good as in better, but like good as in like it feels good to have an essay in this amazing collection. And I think I have a crush on every single writer in the book, which is a challenge.
It is the best people. Like, I am obsessed with everyone.
Yeah, so if you're interested in tarot, I highly, highly recommend it. I'm actually on my Patreon. I'm going to be starting a book club as of June, but our unofficial book for May is Tarot in Other Words.
Yay!
Yeah, so because I was like, I can't get my shit together for May, but I do want to recommend that everybody read this book that I'm a part of, because all the writers are amazing.
For sure.
So I love a good anthology, because it seems to me the whole point of an anthology is just to get as many different perspectives in what are essentially snapshots in terms of the literary world. I think it's a great way to introduce yourself to multiple writers that you might love.
Yeah.
It gives you a whole new set of books to buy.
Yeah. There are also it seems like, I don't know, I hadn't noticed as many like essay anthologies in the occult world when Cassandra was telling me about this project, but I do know that there are a couple of essay anthologies coming out soon, if not already out. I know that there is an essay anthology that looks incredible on chaos magic coming out either later this month or early next month. Let me look up the name of that one.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Ivy the Occultist is a member of it.
Ivy's great.
Yeah, let me see.
While Siri's looking that up too, I'll just say one thing I was really excited about is it's even as rare as anthologies are in occultism and magic, they're even more rare with tarot. I think if people feel like they have tarot things to say, they want a whole book or half of a book or something like that. But I think a lot of my readers who have been with me from the beginning, and I think this is true of Siri too, back in our blogging days, have kind of grown with us. And so a lot of like 201 higher level topics, while the book is very accessible to beginners, that is sort of the area we broach with this anthology. And I think for a lot of those topics, so much of it is in doing the practice yourself and like working it out yourself. And so a lot of times it's more appropriate to just like give an essay about a 201 topic or something like that. Now that doesn't mean I don't have big dreams about writing a 201 full book. But I think for this tarot anthology, it makes so much sense. There's like Siri's incredible piece on reversals, Charlie Clare on interstitial elements as the court cards. It's just so great. And I think it gives people so much to chew on and just revisit over and over and over again.
And I think too that anytime you're trying to write that 201 book, you are stepping out in a direction that not everyone will agree with.
Yeah.
Whereas the 101 information tends to be fairly universal. The controversies are minor. So just presenting an essay gives everybody something to think about, like you said, something to chew on, that the market stays broader. And I think it's a great way of introducing those slightly more advanced concepts that you really want to input on, you want other people's thoughts about, but it's so hard to find.
Yeah, agreed.
I found that Chaos Magic anthology, it's called This is Chaos, Embracing the Future of Magic.
Nice.
And it is edited by Peter J. Carroll, who many folks will know. And the foreword is by Ronald Hutton, which I think is such an interesting... Like, that says something really interesting and weird about what this collection is going to have in it. So, yeah, I'm really excited about that one. And it's coming out from Wiser. So, Cassandra, you and I should bother them.
Oh, goodness, baby girl.
I'm so glad we're getting a fourth interviewee. I love that.
She just didn't like how she was sitting. Now she's all smiles.
Oh,
amazing.
I'm pro babies everywhere, pro children everywhere. I just always have been. I did do a quick walk through the store to grab all of your collective books.
Yay!
Ooh.
And you're too popular because what I have is a copy of Lessons from the Empress. Their tarot, no queering the craft. They're gone.
Amazing.
Which also kind of speaks to the idea that you guys are not pioneers maybe in the acceptance and activity. I think that's been going on since the 1970s, but in the writing about and really getting the word out to a lot of people so that they can incorporate things in their practice or think about things in ways they've never thought about them before. So how do you guys feel about being kind of, leadery?
It's been kind of funny. My most recent book is Queering the Runes. Most recent other than Tarot, in other words, because that was yesterday that came out.
Super recent.
Second most recent book is Queering the Runes, and I essentially wrote the book that I wanted when I was getting started with rune stuff. And so I also feel like I have a both solitary and very communal role in the heathen space. But I've been running into a lot of heathens recently, or that we'll be in a Discord server together and they'll mention the book and somebody will tag me. And they're like, oh my God, they're here. Okay, yes. Hi. Thank you so much. You're making me blush. That's largely how it feels.
It's good for you to blush. It rejuvenates the skin. It keeps you young.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of a funny experience. People also often ask what's next? And in the occult world, at least, I am not sure yet, which is a very funny kind of place to be because, Queering the Runes took me 7 years. So I have a feeling the next book is going to take me probably not quite that long, but
But that's 5 years as a reasonable
right.
Right? Whether you meet that or not, it puts it at a reasonable expectation.
Totally. Yeah. So I have ideas, but it's kind of trying to figure out what to follow right now. That is a little interesting and challenging.
I could see you writing some interesting books on magical correspondences of herbs or ritual work, or I could see it. It.
Yeah, there's a lot of things up here right now that I'm sorting through. Those being part of them.
Yeah, I think for me, I very similarly, so I kind of stumbled into Queering the Tarot. I might have talked about this before. I was passionately writing my blog posts, but then I got a book deal the way that no one gets a book deal, where Wiser contacted me and said, do you want this to be a book? And at first I thought it was a scam. I didn't think it was really someone from Wiser. I thought it was like, who just reaches out to a blogger, you know? And so, but then I fell so in love with the process, and a writer is one of the first things I ever wanted to be. And so I think a lot of that sort of what you talked about sort of being leadery or whatever, it just, I hate to be like, it just kind of happened, but that is also sort of the truth. Like it, and then at the same time, once I had established a name for myself with that, I didn't really want, you know, I don't know if I'm capable about writing about things that are not super queer or not super progressive or not super, whatever. It gets brought up into everything I do. I don't know. And in some way it's weird because when people ask me that question, I get so flustered, or when people are like, oh, wow. Or, you know, I get very flustered and I feel very like I am just some guy, but, and, and that is true. And then also I have an agent now, and I have some books out on Sub, and the way that she, wanted me to approach my last proposal was with a lot of that language in it. And I was like, but I did it. So I guess I'm saying it's a slow process to owning it. But similar to Siri, I just was writing books that I felt like I needed when I was starting out. But then trying to keep them current because a lot has changed since I first started reading and doing craft.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So if I understand you correctly, basically what you're saying is that you have had greatness thrust upon you.
Well, you can't see because my camera's frozen, but that turned me bright red, I'm pretty sure.
Again, good for the skin, good for the complexion. I love that.
It did make baby girl smile real big, though.
Oh, good, good. See,
Yeah.
she understands. She knows that she's, you know, the child of a goddess. She can't help that.
Oh, goodness. You're too kind.
Well, since I have this one here, can one or both of you tell me a little bit, because I like some of the stories about this book, about the lessons from the Empress?
Ooh.
How'd you guys get started on it?
Well, we taught it as a class first, and then it's Siri and I, and we're both a little bit extra. I will say since these days we have both calmed down a little bit, in part because we both got a lot of feedback from students that the amount of stuff we threw at them was overwhelming. But at the time, the workbook for those classes, which were on tarot and runes for creative process and doing all of that during difficult times, the workbooks for each class, which happened weekly, were like 20 pages plus. And then
so you had a chapter for every class, is what
yes,
basically, yeah.
And then Siri was like, what if we put these together and just sell it as a workbook on our websites? And I was like, or we could put it together and pitch it to Wiser. And so they took it, and that was great. It changed a lot from the original, including, I would actually say it's probably shorter than if we had put all those workbook pages together.
Yeah, if we'd put all those workbook pages together and then also done things like an introduction.
Yeah.
You know, like the other kind of chapters to fill it out, like it would have been much longer.
Yeah. Well, and it's as a tarot book, it just wouldn't have made sense to a lot of people because the class was very heavy on the aces. And while I think it would have been a cool book, it also would have been such a niche audience looking for that book. And so Wiser really, I think, handled that book really beautifully in terms of helping us get it to something mass marketable, essentially, while still retaining our voices and our core. So I love that book. And so it's largely, for those listening, like, okay, but what is it about? It's largely about tarot for creative process. And then Siri sprinkles in a bunch of like folksy magic and stuff for us to sort of aid that creative process as well. We split the book pretty evenly. It was pretty 50-50. And then I think the fun story that everyone is always like about is our final edits before we turned it into Wiser. We went to Siri's parents' house and we read each other's sections out loud to each other, like every single sentence, every single word. And it made us really self-conscious, but then it also made us like, oh, this is what makes sense if I'm not reading it in my head, and this is what doesn't. So it was, recommend if you're on a project like that, but also it was terrifying.
Yeah, I think that also really helped us solidify our collective voice, because we have individually we have fairly different writing styles if left to our own devices.
Yeah.
And so that helped, because I was reading Cassandra's sections and Cassandra was reading my sections aloud. So that kind of helped us be like, oh, I need to smooth this out in a certain way, or, oh, can I expand this? Or, oh, like that should be 3 sentences, kind of thing. I will say I kind of like, for Queering the Runes, because that was, that's my only other book length project. After it came out, I was like doing readings at, book launch events and stuff. I was like, man, I should have read this aloud. Like, I should have holed myself up and like read this whole thing aloud. I did not, because life is life, and whatever. But highly recommend that process.
It's a very time-consuming process to read out loud. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also really funny doing it at my parents' place, because every once in a while my dad would like pull me aside and be like, "You're really smart."
Oh, we love Papa Plouff.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. And like my mom was cooking for us and stuff, and the way that the house is set up, we were like doing this at the kitchen table, but they could hear us. Like, they could clearly hear us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was also a funny experience.
That is fantastic. Would you be able, Siri, to give me an example of some of the more folk elements that you, like one of the ones you inserted in that book that are part of your work?
Ooh, geez, yeah. So for each of the wow, I am a tarot author. Minor Arcana chapters. I had a little ritual at the end, and in the cup section, I actually kind of walked people through making a consecrated oil for self-love and acceptance. So I had several herbs that I recommended for that purpose, although we did ensure to include an appendix in the back with some good alternative suggestions, because and that kind of comes back to my cinnamon allergy, because so it's so prevalent in like herbal recipes and magic and everything, that I'm always like, okay, like, what is it about the cinnamon this time that you're like trying to do? Like,
are we talking about wealth? Are we talking about energy? Are we talking?
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we definitely like kept an appendix in the back for that. Some other things. There was a very basic like in the folk magic tradition that I'm trained in, Troll Dome, there is a practice of dedicating an action to something, and if it is an action that you can very easily complete, that is all the better. So it's like, I am dedicating the action of doing these dishes to clearing my mind.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
I think I put that in there. I thought about it. If I didn't, that's going in another book. But
Even if you didn't, it's great advice. Like, for this time and space, while I'm doing this simple task, I'm going to focus on this. I was just going over that in one of the lives earlier this week, because I did my rant about chance should always be short. If you're going to write me a 5-stanza poem, I'm going to spend time reading the poem, not giving energy
Right.
to the intent of the work. So I like me a tiny, tiny chant, 2 words, 3 words. There's a great chance, in my opinion, because while I'm washing the dishes, I can just mentally or verbally just be repeating that phrase again and again and again and reinforcing the magic I've already set in motion. So I love that kind of advice.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also just like, because it's an easily completed task, there's no worry about, oh, I didn't complete this, therefore my magic went funky or whatever. You know, it's like, no, I just did the dishes. If doing the dishes is too hard that day, you could also assign it to an even simpler action, like, you know, standing up, or I'm going to breathe 3 times, and completing breathing 3 times for this intention is enough. So yeah, just kind of those like tiny things are important. I'm trying to think of other folk magic things, but yeah.
Well,
there's
when I
much
said
more
that too,
What?
sorry, I was just gonna say when I said that too, I was thinking of like folk magic being using what you got as one of the first rules, and Siri was really excellent at that when they were writing those rituals, as well as being like use what you got for what you need, like understanding that tomes and tomes of occultist and spell books have very specific things that just aren't always what you actually need in the minute. And so Siri was like, okay, how do we make this of the folk again? And so did a really beautiful, so it's a lot of just really simple spells with each chapter, I would say, with stuff you already have on hand.
Well, and I think folk magic from 50 years ago or 70 years ago or 100 years ago, different supplies were available readily.
Yep.
So folk magic has to shift based on what's actually available. I have not seen a patchouli root, and I do not know how many years. We used to carry them. I cannot get them for love nor money, let alone patchouli leaf. I can't get that either. So all of those spell books that took for granted easy access to patchouli for all of those decades, that's not possible anymore.
Well, and I think about a lot with everything else, like climate change and the tariffs and all of this other stuff. And like, so speaking to Siri's cinnamon allergy, I think cinnamon is one that a lot of magicians take for granted. But when you look at the forecast of the next 20 years, we don't have a lot of time with that being the case. And it's audacious to assume or to like still write that in as a default herb, especially because I don't think it would be very successful to like grow it here in Minnesota. Like it needs that. So like it's so, and with some of them too, like patchouli, like if someone's like, I really want to use this, but I don't know where to get it, I would tell them to get some seeds and try growing it themselves. But there's a lot of things because of all of this stuff that's not doable depending on where you live.
Exactly. So it does become important to understand what's around you, what you really do have access to.
Yeah. Tracy, speaking of Tracy, when I worked for her, she taught me like bistorn and other like weedy things that are local for money magic, and those are some of my strongest plant allies now. So yeah.
There's a book, speaking of this stuff, there are a few books regarding herbs that you can readily find, which Liz probably knows a few more as well. I do like the Witch's Guide to Wild Harvesting. That one's really good. And then actually I met this author at the Salem Witchcraft and Folklore Festival. There's now a book about working with invasive species.
Oh, that's so cool. And necessary.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me right now. It came out through Cross Crow, I believe. But yeah, there's a book on working with invasive plants for magical purposes. And that actually feels like really good, because if I were to wild harvest burdock, for example, or if I were to wild harvest, you know, some of these other invasive plants, I'm actually kind of like helping the ecosystem rather than like taking away something that is maybe rarer or more precious.
I think we are sold out, but it's called The Tameless Path.
Yes. Okay.
So
That's what
very
it is.
good book. Yeah, it's definitely worth picking up for that very reason. And it's also interesting to learn what is invasive that no one necessarily brought over, and then you have that decision to make of, plantain just came over because it likes us. That's the only reason. No one really brought over white man's footprint. Nobody did that. So now you have a decision to make. It's worked its way into the ecosystem very nicely. Do you feel free to just rip it all out of the ground, or do you respect the fact that it's actually managed to make a home here, unlike, say, buckthorn, which is still trying to rule the roost, or kudzu in the south, which would, choke everything out if it could.
Well, and I will say, coming from the Bible Belt, kudzu is such a powerful plant ally if you're wanting to do like quote unquote baneful magic or something, and it's so plentiful. But again, no one's really writing about these things. And so one thing I was going to say was, as a witch, as an occultist, as a practitioner, I spend a lot of time thinking about like macrocosm, microcosm, and I think, and yes, that's like as above, so below, whatever. But I also think about what you were saying about invasive species overall. When Siri and I lived together, we saw the microcosm of that with volunteers in our own garden. Like, we have a series out of this home now, but we have a decent wild onion crop every year. We didn't plant that. It just showed up. And Siri called it the wandering onion, which is so funny and cute. But
The walking onion, they're delicious too.
Yeah. And we left just enough in the ground that now they pop up. And it's so interesting to see how they pop up, because they pop up all over the garden, no matter where I try to keep them planted.
Oh yeah, they move. They do move around, yeah.
Like, Siri was onto something, calling them the wandering onion. And so
true.
But knowing that, for me, because I work a lot with Hecate, and alliums are so important in that practice sometimes, and like seeing how that shows up, I don't know, like that wild onion was not intentionally planted in my garden, and yet it is one of the most delicious and beneficial things that shows up. And so we see stuff like what we're talking about, even in the microcosm. Even if you have houseplants, people will talk about, how did this volunteer seed get in here and grow?
That one just really likes you.
Yeah.
It likes your vibe and hitched a ride.
I hate to say it, but we're running out of time fast. This has been so much fun, you two. Gotta get you guys together on here more often. I did realize I forgot to do one thing, which is the What Are We Wearing segment. So Tracy's treasures are decorating my fingers today. I've got amethyst and Larimar and all kinds of fun things on here, abalone shell even, and some of Jerry's bracelets are on here too. They won't be for much longer, but I'm showing them off today. So I want to thank you guys again, because you guys are amazing and fabulous. All three of you, honestly, all three of you are fabulous. One of you won't remember, but it's great having all of you here.
Thank you.
Hopefully at an upcoming Authors Salon event, you guys can team up again and be part of the crew on some random Saturday or Sunday. A lot of these interviews, Barlow will be on in a few weeks, and hopefully she'll be able to join you. Maybe we'll just have one that specializes on you guys from Wiser.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That's a thought. That's a thought.
I had a question. Are you having like a reopening party, or like a we're in the new space party? Like,
that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm not going to decide the date on that quite yet. I want to see how long it takes for the physical structure to get rearranged, because where we're going was a music school. So we are taking out to increase the store floor where you guys get to shop and see cool stuff. We're taking out a couple of small practice rooms and shortening a storage space so that it's just the classroom and the storage space for the classroom. When that's done, it's painting and getting things set up, which is not that bad. So that's probably when, as soon as Chris is done with the physical side and we can paint, then I will be making announcements. And I'm hoping to have a really fun party.
Awesome.
Speaking of, one thing I do want to say before we go, not to take away from Magus's claim, because I love y'all and I will be at that party, but
I'm so excited.
Siri and I are having, Siri and actually Janetta Petrus, poet laureate of Minneapolis, who is in Tarot in Other Words, are having a book launch event tomorrow at Moon Palace at 6. Masks are required, which as an immunocompromised person, we love. So know that. At the same time, Moon Palace does have them available. So you don't need to worry. Hey. Okay, I'm going to mute and let Siri finish up because she's upset.
Yeah. So it's going to be really fun. It's at 6 p.m. at Moon Palace on Thursday, which is tomorrow, I'm realizing.
Thursday, May 8th.
Yes, Thursday, May 8th. Yeah, in case people are watching the replay. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to do some readings from it. You can get like 3 out of 10 signatures if you are a signature in your book kind of person. It'll be a good time.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I will be thinking of you both and all 3 of you while I am taking my son to Kung Fu.
Well, that is also very fun.
Still a worthy endeavor. Yeah.
Yes. I did karate when I was around his age, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. Fun.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll have you guys on again, maybe later this year, promoting all the fun stuff you guys are doing. But thank you again. This was so much fun. And to everybody else, thank you. And to everyone, blessed be.
Blessed be, y'all.